Today, Australia is known for its stunning beaches, unique wildlife, and peaceful lifestyle. But what if I told you the entire country was built by prisoners? And I'm not talking about your average white-collar criminals. I mean commoners who stole food to survive. In the late 1700s, Britain had a massive crime problem. Prisons were overflowing. People were being jailed and even executed for petty theft, like stealing a loaf of bread. The government had no space, no solution. So they came up with one: ship their criminals to the other side of the world. But why Australia? Why did they choose this far-off unknown land? And how exactly did they transform it into a thriving colony? And what does this all have to do with one of the most famous desserts of all time? Well, you're going to have to stick around to find out. By 1780, British jails were so full that prisoners were being kept in rotting ships floating on the Thames River. Over 200 crimes were punishable by death, including stealing a handkerchief. Poverty was exploding, and there simply wasn't room to hold everyone. That's when they looked to a distant, little-known land: Australia. On April 26, 1787, 11 ships carrying over 750 convicts left England. It would be nearly 8 months before they arrived at their destination, a place called Botany Bay. But the journey was just as brutal as the sentence they were fleeing. Disease spread, food ran low. The conditions were horrible. When they finally arrived in January of 1788, they found nothing but wilderness. No cities, no farms, nothing. Just wilderness. They named the area New South Wales and started building. But the prisoners didn't have time to waste. They were forced to work 7 days a week, often while being chained up. And under guard, they cleared land, built roads, erected homes, and even constructed a prison. All this in a climate that was hot and dry with little fresh water and fewer supplies. And some of these prisoners were as young as 9 years old. But who were these prisoners? How could an entire nation be built by so few people? Contrary to popular belief, many of these prisoners weren't violent criminals. Instead, they were poor people who resorted to desperate measures. Their crimes were stealing bread, a spoon, a coat. One woman was even convicted of impersonating an Egyptian. Most were sentenced to 7 or 14 years. Some were sentenced to life in prison. As time went on, these prisoners, along with the soldiers who guarded them, built the foundations of Australian society. Towns and cities slowly formed. Convicts became farmers, laborers, blacksmiths, and some eventually earned their freedom. Australia, as we know it, was starting to take shape. But Britain soon realized there was a major downside to having a penal colony so far away. The stigma stuck. In the 1800s, Australians wanted to be seen as a free, independent society, not as a nation of convicts. And in 1868, Britain officially ended convict transportation to Australia. But the damage was done. Many Australians never forgot the true origins of their country. Between 1788 and 1868, Britain sent more than 160,000 convicts to Australia, including thousands of women and children. Entire regions, including Tasmania, were built almost entirely by forced labor. Despite its dark beginnings, the colony was growing and thriving. After the penal era ended, Australia continued to grow. Cities expanded. Gold was discovered. Great Barrier Reef was declared a national treasure. And today, Australia is one of the most prosperous countries in the world. But here's the thing. Few people know the whole story. The official narrative tends to gloss over the convict past. But the truth is, Australia was built by the very people Britain wanted to forget. What began as a place of punishment turned into a nation of opportunity. If you want to learn more about the convict era, check out the series in the description below. And make sure you subscribe, because the more you know,